So check this out. I have kids. My kids play soccer. And they play it for like the community league. Because whatever, they're just having fun. They are not going to be on like, they're not going to be superstars of their soccer teams in the future. But it's fun. They like it. That's all that matters, right? And so when it comes to uniforms for their local community soccer leagues, our community has pretty simple, the rules that they send parents when it comes to uniforms are, this is the shirt you need to get. You can purchase it in these places. It's one of those shirts like it's one color on one side and it's a different color if you reverse it, which makes it easier to say team one wear this color, team two wear the other color. And what's on the back of the shirt? Maybe a number. I don't even know if they have numbers on it, but like that's it. You don't modify the uniform. You just have to get that shirt if your kid wants to play soccer. That's it. That makes sense because in a youth soccer league, it doesn't matter who you are. It's not about you. You're just passing the ball to your teammates, right? Anyway, so in Prince George County in Virginia, they don't have that policy, apparently. Their Parks and Rec department was being criticized recently because a volunteer coach for its youth soccer league decided to tell his players that they should wear their uniforms with Bible verses on the back of their jerseys. And here's what happened. The county gives kids jerseys when they sign up to play soccer in that league. And the back of their uniform has a number on it just to differentiate the students. Well, apparently what happened is this volunteer coach, his name is Drew Collins, he asked the parents of the kids he's coaching, who, by the way, are ages 7, 8, and 9. He asked the parents, hey, give me your kids' jerseys. I will take them back, and I'm going to add a Bible verse to the back. Are you all okay with that? And apparently everyone was like, yeah, I guess that's fine. And so what ended up happening, this is one parent holding up the shirt. I will let you look at this here. She's holding up the shirt with John 14:6. And this is what the coach did to all of the students' jerseys. He put that verse on the back. And this is what that lady who's holding up that jersey said to a local news station. The coach had asked us if it was okay that we put a Bible verse on the jersey and told us the Bible verse and taught it to our kids. By the way, the mother's name is also Colin. She's not related to the coach. We had said, yes, it's fine. It's okay. It's John 14:6. In that verse, Jesus says, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Okay, so the coach puts the Bible verse on the backs of these jerseys. You know why this would be a problem, right? Because when you bring religion into a community-run sports league, a game that is all about let's be inclusive, we're not really worried about strategy, we're not really worried about the win-loss record, we're just trying to have fun, get the kids out there running, learning teamwork. Why would you bring something as divisive as religion into it, right? Like, and more importantly, why are you bringing Christianity into it? Because that could alienate kids whose families are Muslim or Jewish or atheist or even other Christian families who don't want to do religion when they are at the soccer league. Like, I don't know. I guess it's not surprising to me that all the parents seem to say yes to this, because what's the alternative? No, don't do that. And then your kid becomes the outcast on the team. It's the same reason we don't want public high school football coaches praying with their teams, because if a student says, I don't want to be part of this huddle for the team prayer, maybe they are being seen as a bad teammate. Maybe they get less playing time. Maybe, why would you want to ostracize them when you don't have to? It's just a bad idea. So it doesn't matter to me that this verse is supposedly uplifting. It's not, by the way. What it says is, believe in me, otherwise you're going to burn in hell for eternity. That's what Jesus is saying right there. So it's not uplifting. But you don't want Bible verses on the backs of jerseys for the same reason you don't want Hail Satan on the backs of jerseys. You don't want there's no God, so, live a good life on the backs of your jerseys. Just stick to the damn game. Stop trying to use every opportunity to force your religion on other kids. And again, then there's the coercive element because what are these kids supposed to do? They have no choice in the matter. They're 7 years old. Okay, so on September 6th, which was earlier this month, they played in those uniforms. And I guess some parent, I assume on the other team, saw that and was like, what the hell's going on here? And so a parent called uh, the county Parks and Rec department and said, why did you allow that? What's going on there? And check out what that same mother said to the same news outlet. Parks and Rec then called our coach and said, hey, we're ordering you all new jerseys with nothing on them, and told us we could not play if we had this on the back of our jersey. Parents quite quickly argued that jerseys, I'm going to stop here for a second. So if you're the county at this point, you're like, oh, what did you do to our jerseys? You modified them? You can't do that. Okay, here's what we'll do. Quick fix. Everyone on your team will get new jerseys. Use those. Do not use the Bible ones. Okay, I get why the county did that. That's a good move. And county officials also said, if you skip to the bottom 2 highlighted paragraphs here, Collins said county officials then delivered an ultimatum to the team that if they show up on the field with those jerseys, they will not be able to play for the rest of the season. And again, I do understand where the county is coming from because they don't want to bring religion into this. They are aware that if they allow this, they could face a lawsuit over it. So they said, look, if you're going to keep those jerseys, you can't play, but we will send you new jerseys. Use those instead, which is a perfectly fair ultimatum. Like, I don't want to hurt these kids. I want them to be able to play soccer, but their coach is an idiot. So the county's saying, we didn't know this volunteer coach was like that. So here, we'll make it up to you. Take these new jerseys. And as long as you wear those, your kids are fine. Okay, I get that. Now here's the problem. And this is the one paragraph I skipped here. Check this out. Parents quickly argued that jerseys have been customized for years with children's names and even business names without issue. And this is where the county made a mistake. Because it's one thing to put your kids' names on the back of a jersey, but if you're allowing businesses who maybe sponsor a team or like buy the kids after game treats or something, and in exchange, they say, can you put like Bob's Hardware on the back of the jerseys? If the county is allowing that, there are right-wing religious groups that are going to say, well, the Supreme Court says if you allow secular groups to do a thing, you got to allow religious groups to do a thing. So if not a Bible verse, maybe a church name can go on the back of a jersey. Why not put a Bible verse on the back? And at this point, you have to assume the county's like, oh no, we've made a terrible mistake because we didn't have rules about this. And apparently, we didn't realize that coaches would require us to have rules. Have you ever seen that Onion headline, like toy banned because of 3 stupid dead kids or something? Like you didn't realize it was going to be an issue, but someone screwed up and now everyone has to pay the price. That's what happened here. In fact, the coach of the team, apparently he has a lawyer. And this lawyer, I'll show you this from Facebook. Look at this. Attorney Tim Anderson, he posted this earlier this month, and he wrote an email to the head of like the county athletic organization, whose name, ironically, is Miss Pastor. But he basically says, I represent Coach Andrew Collins, and here's the issue, and here's why we may have to sue you if you don't allow us to have this Bible verse on the back of the jersey. Because, why handle things calmly when you could blow it out of proportion because that's what Jesus wants you to do, and you got nothing better to do with your time because you have not been raptured. So I think the county's ultimatum was the right call, ethically speaking, but I kind of do get that the lawyer he does kind of have a case here, because if they allowed outside groups to put stuff on the backs of jerseys, courts are going to side with the coach if the county's telling them you can't have religious stuff on the back of it. And that's their fault. They shouldn't have done it. So anyway, the next game was scheduled for September 20th, 2 weeks after that first game. And at this point, the coach is like, I'm going to be the next Joe Kennedy, that football coach who wanted to have showboating prayers at midfield after high school football games. He's like, all right, here's what we're going to do. If the county says we're not allowed to play because of your jerseys, we're going to move to a non-sanctioned field that has nothing to do with the county, and we will scrimmage and play a practice game with our opponents. And by the way, we've already talked to your opponents, and we're already on the same page about this because they're Christians too. So they're already ready to make a big thing out of this and stick it to the county if they punish the kids by not letting them play. So here is the good news at this point, which is that the county has now chimed in. Before September 20th, this past weekend, the county chimed in, and they said a couple of things in a statement. And let me share with you what they said here. Check out the top part. This is interesting. The coach reportedly told county officials that he received parents' permission to make these alterations. However, according to the county officials have learned that not all parents of affected children had been informed in advance of the uniform alterations. Holy shit, someone at the county found out that there is a parent on this dude's team who did not want them to wear the Jesus jerseys. And the coach just lied to everyone and said everyone was cool with it. And the county knows it, which is good to know, and that's hilarious. But look at this. The county adds, while previous alterations, such as players' names or sponsorship logos, have previously occurred without complaint, participation in county-run athletic leagues has not historically included having to make one's religious preferences known or displayed, said a very annoyed official in the release. As such, the addition of religious messaging on county-purchased uniforms for a county-run program presents complex First Amendment considerations. A policy review has thus been launched into our legal obligations in local government-sponsored programs. So at this point, the county's like, look, we didn't know you idiots were going to make us do this, but I guess we'll have our lawyers deal with it now. Which is funny, but it's also, yeah, you should have had your lawyers write this up ahead of time. And yeah, you should have a policy about what part of a uniform is allowed to be altered. A lot of communities have those in place. I'm sure you can copy paste from them. So that's good. They should have done that before. They're going to do it now. And then they said this, which is very important. In the meantime, the county said that no player will be excluded or removed from participation based solely on uniform alterations, as long as the alterations are approved by the player's parent or guardian. And I think that is the right call. They're saying, look, sorry, we said we were not going to allow the kids to play before. I guess we will let them play if they're wearing their Jesus jerseys this season. We're not going to kick out the kids because this coach was like a really cocky Christian. So that's the right move. Let the kids play. And then the county has an obligation to fix their uniform rules so that this doesn't happen again. And again, that's the right move. That makes sense. It's the best path forward. I will say I saw one more article where the coach chimed in. And it's the only article, really, where the coach chimed in. But look at this. He was referring to the parent who did not want him to do this. Look at what he said. The coach, Collins, claimed the dissent was due to miscommunication among parents. One of the child's parents, the mother, women, verbally consented at the first practice. However, she did not communicate it to her husband. Had they communicated, this would never have been an issue. So, like any good conservative Christian, he's like, you guys, it was a woman. Blame her. She sucks at her one job. Don't blame me for this. And then he adds, he has no ill will. I'd like to sit down and have a cup of coffee with them sometime. I promise you, I have no clue who this couple is. They do not want to have coffee with you. They tolerate you because you are their kid's coach, but I promise you they don't want to hang out with you. Not over coffee. Coffee's a good thing. Don't ruin their coffee by sitting in at their table. So, anyway, this is why you don't sign up to be a volunteer coach if all you want to do is push religion on kids. You are creating drama where there does not have to be any drama. And that's the problem here. There isn't going to be a legal threat anymore because the county's playing by the law. They're doing what they should do. And I hope they come up with a sensible policy. But this coach has made it clear he cares more about his religion than the kids. And instead of volunteering at his church, he decided to do it in the community rec league, which is the one place he should not be at. Like, it's faith-based arrogance. He shouldn't be pushing that on kids. Youth sports run by a community like league, that's supposed to be one of those places where everyone comes together. It's the great equalizer. You learn teamwork, you work with people you live near, even if you don't know them and you don't go to school together. I did it when I was a kid. I played a couple years in youth soccer. I wasn't good. Can you tell? I'm doing this now. But it was fun. I liked the games. And once I figured out, oh, I suck at this, I did theater, which is the natural progression of this stuff. But like, I don't get it. If you're a coach and you've decided religious proselytizing is either as important or more important than teaching kids the skills they're supposed to learn in a random youth soccer league, why are you there? You are depriving people of the pure joy of doing that stuff and making them think about religion, which they should not have to think about. You know why you go to youth soccer? You know why you play sports? It's to get away from church. That's why people love football. It's on Sundays. I get to think about that and not church. So I don't know. This dude's selfishness, it wrecks the whole spirit of volunteer coaching. So I hope the county issues this blanket ban on uniform alterations. And I think they should implement a strict code of conduct for coaches who want to do anything other than coach. You do not bring your politics, your religion into those positions. It's bad for the kids. It sets a dangerous precedent. And it shows you're not really interested in the job you volunteered to do. All right, I will stop there. What questions we got here? Want to add drama to your team? Add Bible verses to your community sports team jersey. And listen, if they are okay with adding Bible verses, as I'm sure all of you watching this know, there are plenty of really good Bible verses you could put on the back of a jersey that Christians will not like you quoting out of context, but totally in context because they're still bad. But we could have fun with this. Wait, what if the kid didn't want the alteration? As we all know, these people do not care about children one bit. So that is the problem. What if the kid doesn't want the alteration? Well, on one hand, they are kids and they just have to do whatever the adults say. But also, why are they putting kids in this position where they want to play soccer and you're like, wear this thing that you don't want to wear? Even if they're old enough to make sense of that, why are you making them do that? Hail Satan, I would wear that. I mean, I would too. We should have live stream t-shirts that say that we all wear when we hang out like this. The best kind of parasocial relationship. Nobody makes unwitting pawns of their own children more than the religious, especially Christians. I mean, it's why you got to get them young. If you want to go down another rabbit hole, Google 4-14, the 4 to 14 window. And there have been books written about how if you are a conservative Christian, that's when you got to strike. You got to go after those kids when they're the ages 4 to 14. Otherwise, you will lose them forever. And so conservative Christians very much have a thing of get them while they're young. It's creepy. I'm a Jehovah's Witness, so I disagree with so much of me. But I like your videos and respect you. Hey, you know what? I appreciate that. Thank you, Alexander. I love the fact that people who disagree with me still finds value in these videos. Thanks so much. Seriously. Hammond, have you ever watched South Park? They mock religion a lot. I love South Park. I like so many, I think, people my age, I watched it a lot back in the day. I stopped watching it for a while because other stuff was happening. And this season, though, I have watched every episode, including the one last night, and it's been good. I've really enjoyed it this year. But yeah, they mock religion, they mock atheism, famously so. Richard Dawkins is in an episode and he doesn't come off great. Atheists do not come off great in that episode, in those episodes. But yeah, that I do watch that show.